Welcome to episode 63. I think that's what I wrote of the Odyssey Hour. Uh, it is Wednesday night at 8:03. So our apologies. We had uh, some trouble getting everyone in here before the deadline. So, but we're here. We're happy. We're good. We're excited to be here. I'm sure Sam will join us whenever he wakes up. So today, when I was uh, doing my day job, one of the things that I guess makes it a little sunnier is I took a flash drive, one of ours, and uh, filled it up with like 500 and something songs, MP3s, because there's a radio in my truck that has a USB port and will actually play the music. I don't know why, but well, I do know why the song came on because I added it, but I don't know why I thought of this, but it made me laugh. But New Kids on the Block, Hanging Tough, came on, and I thought, how awesome would it be if I switched out the music for our opening here for the Odyssey Hour with the music to Hanging Tough? Yes.
I've never
No?
heard that song, so I don't know.
Oh, gotcha. Well, I think they were out before you were born.
Probably, but that's okay. I've heard music before I was born, but I know I've heard songs from them, but I don't know if I've heard that specific one.
I'm sure it is because they only have like 3 songs that anybody remembers, and "Hanging Tough" is one of them. That's one that goes, "Oh, we're hanging tough." No,
I'll have to look it up after.
yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I might experiment with that.
That'd be a nice surprise every week, a different song.
That would be a lot of work for me, though.
It would, but whenever you want to
Oh.
like throw it in there, it could be a fun surprise for everybody.
It is true. I could rickroll people. I think that
Oh,
would be
God.
hilarious.
It'd be fun around Christmas. You could do lots of Christmas music.
Yeah, but we're talking about rickrolling people.
Yeah, I understand, but Christmas
Well, right.
and Halloween music. There's lots of Halloween music that people don't listen to.
There's a reason for it. Halloween music is not that good. I mean, it's don't get me wrong, it's like creepy or whatever, but so's the music we play every day.
The music we play every day is creepy.
Well, the music we let me rephrase. The music we play every week for our opening is supposed to be creepy anyways. So it's just a different creepy music.
Yeah, but you could do like Ghostbusters theme song. That'd be fun.
I have thought
Monster
of that
Mash.
Yeah,
Monster Mash.
that's a good one.
Great.
We'll
Just
make
keep
a
giving
list
me more
for
work.
you.
Yeah, just keep giving me more work. Let's do it. Yeah. So anyway, I thought that I would bring that as an amusing anecdote to start the show with here tonight. Although I did tell the UPS driver today that that I was an investigator, and he pretty much shunned me.
It happens every now and then.
Yes, it does. He was just joking. He's a good guy, but he's like, "Okay, Spangler," and he's like, "Okay, Venkman," and I'm like, "I'd rather be Venkman. I think I'm more of a Venkman than anything."
Yeah. Yeah.
You're kind of like a game show host. But so anyway, while we wait, hopefully maybe for Sam to come in here, who would like to go first with the topic?
I can go first.
Thank you.
Okay. You're very welcome. So we've talked before about, I think it was a while ago, like people that believe that like if they watch a paranormal TV show, they're somehow going to inadvertently open up a portal and things are going to happen in their house because of something they're watching on TV. So I was thinking, I'm like, okay, people think that you can inadvertently open portals, which you can, we know that. But what do you think are some of maybe the funniest ways that you've heard of people thinking they can bring paranormal activity into their home? And then what are some like actual ways that people might inadvertently be bringing things into their home? Like what's like the fact and fake kind of thing with unintentionally opening up a portal?
Have at it, Mr. Shea.
Sorry, could you say the question again?
Yeah. So
must
what?
have
Lauren, can you say
broken
the
up.
question again?
Yes, absolutely. What is the most ridiculous way you've heard somebody think they unintentionally opened up a portal? And what is an actual way that you've seen people unintentionally open up a portal? Seen or heard. You don't have to like have actually been there when they do it. That's fine.
Anybody open portals? And I don't think I've even heard about it. The closest thing I've ever seen was on Ghost Hunters International when they were at, I think it was at Lep Castle, and they were in that
Uh-oh. Oh, there he is.
Barry Sullivan, is that his name? The guy from
Fitzgerald.
he was
Barry Fitzgerald.
He was Fitzgerald, yes. Barry Fitzgerald.
Oh, Scott.
Uh-oh.
Your Wi-Fi is terrible.
I hear.
Yes, Scott, you're freezing something terrible.
Okay. It's my laptop.
You say his laptop's dying.
Can you hear me?
Barely. We can hear like every other sentence.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I'm having problems with my laptop. I tried it on my phone tonight. It let me into StreamYard, but it wouldn't let me into the studio.
It must not be like mobile compatible.
Can you hear me at all?
Somewhat.
Now again, yeah.
Yeah. And no.
Uh-oh.
So
Scott, maybe we should try again. Maybe like leave and then come back.
did you hear my answer?
No. Not at all. Well, so everybody is not just hearing silence. I'll go.
Okay.
So that is actually your example is the dumbest way I've ever heard people think that they could bring paranormal activity into their home.
Yep.
I originally thought that maybe you were just asking that question to annoy me, but you would never do that.
No. Never.
Because wow, anybody. No. Oh, hey, Scott, welcome. Are you with us?
I don't know. Am I?
Yeah, kinda. I mean,
I can't tell.
Oh, well, I mean, as long as you're moving, I think you're okay. As soon as you freeze, then yeah, there's no words that come out.
Well, I'm not freezing on my thing.
Yeah, he wouldn't be freezing.
You're freezing on mine.
Well, right, but I mean, if we can, let me rephrase. If we can see you move, but since it seems to be okay right now, why don't you go ahead and answer, and then I'll go back to mine.
Okay. So I was saying I haven't actually seen it. The only thing I've seen was on Ghost Hunters International, where they're at the castle, and Barry Fitzgerald ran down to the basement room and yanked the guy out of there and said, "Don't go in there. There's a demon in there or something, and it's coming at you." So, and they closed the doors and ran off, and that was it. So that's the closest I've ever seen to actual portal. I don't know, and I don't really believe that one. Um, so I think they're being over dramatic. But, so I don't know. I've never experienced that, so I can't answer it really.
That's fine. So, as I was saying, and Scott, I don't know if you heard the start of my answer, but it was pretty much Lauren's example of people thinking that they can watch a TV show or a scary movie, and then there's a portal that opens, is the dumbest way I've ever heard anybody think that they could do it, because you can't. That's not possible. Just watching it. Now, I always use the example. Now, if you're watching a paranormal TV show or a scary movie while using a Ouija board, then yes, you can. But that has nothing to do with you watching the TV show. It has everything to do with you using the Ouija board. So, I mean, I guess the way people can bring it in, the Ouija board, honestly, I think you could probably do it a lot of different ways, because of your intentions. We had, Scott will remember this. Unfortunately for the both of us, we remember it. We have the case that we never talk about. That had nothing to do with, well, actually, I was wrong. That actually did involve a Ouija board. But they didn't use it like some friends did. And then they decided to play this like almost like a ritualistic game where they would take a stuffed animal, pull out of the stuffing, like throw a bunch of, I think, like rice in there along with like something personal of theirs, like blood or fingernail or like a fingernail clipping or something like that. And then they had to go and do a whole bunch of like really stupid ass ritualistic things. And it was to summon something, and it was a game. And Dead Man's Hide and Seek is what they called it. It's some Japanese thing.
Yeah.
But naturally,
And its only intention was to conjure something.
Pretty much. So I mean, if your intention is to summon something, if your intention is to bring something in, you can do it hundreds of different ways. You can use the psychomantium, you can use the mirror, whatever. If you don't have the intention, I don't think you can do it. I think intention is everything. If you want to, whether intentionally or unintentionally, bring something in. Now, obviously, if something's there already, well, that's not your fault. And that has got nothing to do with anything. But yeah, just anybody who thinks that they can just watch TV and activity is going to happen, no. And I know where that came from. Obviously came from the Newkirks doing their sigil stuff, and trying to get everybody that was watching to do it as well. And then people started reporting that shit was happening in their homes. I think that snowballed and started being like, just watching TV could do it. You have to have the intent and you have to be trying it. whether you believe it'll work or not, I don't think matters. Because I know there's a lot of people that will probably be like, I don't believe in this shit. Let's do it. Nothing's going to happen. And then something happens and they're shitting bricks. So, I mean, I really don't think that belief has anything to do with anything. I think it's more just the intent. What about you? What do you believe?
I mean, I do agree with you that like intention, like we always say, is behind everything. So like if you're intending to open something up, it's very likely that you might. As for the stupid nonsense people thinking that they're going to open up a portal, we've obviously heard like watching TV shows, movies, or even playing video games like on your TV will open something up, which I don't think it will. I've heard a lot of people say that if you sleep in front of a mirror or something like that, you're somehow opening yourself up. Again, I don't really give much thought to that. Like, I just don't want to be looking in a mirror when I sleep because that's just weird to me. But then again, I'm the kind of...
If you're asleep, are you really looking into a mirror?
No, but like you have to go to sleep knowing. Like I'm the kind of person that likes every single door shut all the way. Like no matter where in my room it is, the door needs to be shut. So like the mirror kind of, I don't know why, but it has that same kind of mentality thing for me. Or like if there's if your feet are facing like towards the door of your room, that's kind of getting into like the superstition kind of side of things. But there's like a lot of like weird stuff that really holds no water, but people are still a little bit scared of, or they'll change how they do things to avoid it. I just think it's really interesting because everybody has superstitions, and a lot of those superstitions relate to the spirit world, and it's interesting to hear a lot of the different ones that are like, when you think about it, they're a little crazy. But just a little bit. But yeah, so like you said, intention is behind everything. You don't necessarily have to believe it, because we've heard lots of stories of people being like, I don't believe this is a thing, and then they do something and stuff starts happening. They're like, yep, I'm a believer now. This stuff's real, don't mess with it. The only instance that I have heard of when something happened related to it was a cassette tape playing, which I don't really know if this is true or not, but I don't know what show it was. It was some show where they interview the actual people about their experiences, right? So the actual people are like telling the stories, and they kind of have like the recreations that go along with it and stuff
My
like
Ghost
that.
Story?
It wasn't that one, but it was like a show like that. There's a million
Paranormal
of them now.
Witness, Paranormal Survivor, all those,
something like that. But there was this guy that moved in, or that was renting a house of a friend, because the friend like wasn't there like 10 months out of the year. So they're like, yeah, if you want to pay the rent, you could stay there. And she was a witch, and she had all of these spells and like chants recorded on cassette tapes, and he didn't know what they were. And he's like, what is this? And popped it in. And she, like, her voice started coming over and like doing all these chants and everything like that. And then it kind of woke up something, and stuff started happening to him. But that, now that I'm thinking about it, that was probably already in the house if she had been doing it in the house and was like kind of summoning something. It probably just awakened it or whatever. But yeah, 9 times out of 10, you're not going to summon something from watching a movie or playing a video game or listening to a podcast or whatever it may be. You're going to be fine. It's okay.
Yeah, I mean, especially if you're listening to the Odyssey Files, all you're going to get is mind-blowing knowledge. That's all that's going to happen there, and entertainment. So, just one the follow-up to what you're talking about with mirrors, because Dave and I did a show on mirrors, and yeah, they're almost like a Ouija board. Like there's just rules that is supposed to go into mirrors. Like you're not supposed to have a mirror facing you, like facing your bed. You're not supposed to have mirrors facing each other. And yeah, there's just all kinds of crap. On the back of my bedroom door, there is a full-size mirror. And but when you shut it, because it kind of has an angle, to the thing, it doesn't actually face my bed. It faces like the nightstand or something like that. So I'm like, I'm good. I don't have to worry about this.
You're right there, though. Right there.
I don't care.
Yeah.
Even if something wanted to come through, they still have to abide by my rule: stay the F out of my room. So they can't come in anyways. But what, Scott?
Well, my dresser with the big mirror is right next to my bed, facing it. I don't care. Nothing's gonna bother me.
Well, exactly. I mean, besides, you get visited all the time, really. I mean, don't you?
Mm,
Or at least feel presences.
probably.
I don't know if
Yeah.
you actually had visited, but I know you get you feel presences and stuff like that a lot of times.
Every now and then something knocks on my door and there's nobody there, calls my name and there's nobody else here. But but that was helpful when I was late for work and they called me and woke me up to get to work. So
they're your alarm clock.
That's happened.
I wonder what would happen. Try that, Scott. Let me know how it goes, and just be like, "All right, spirits, wake me up at 8 a.m." and see if you wake up at 8 a.m.
I've done that before, yeah.
Usually, I tell Alexa to wake me up, but so yeah. All right, we good on that one? Good. It was a good question. Scott, you want to go or you want me to?
I would appreciate it if you would. I don't have any.
I was just saying, you don't have anything, do you?
I got something, but it's not good.
All right. So you've kind of done this to us, Scott, before, and had a list, and then had us have to guess kind of what was on it. So when I was looking for another question, which I still haven't found the answer to, but I will. I came across it's from the Chapman University. They call it a survey of American fears, 2017. So it's a few years old. But they were asking people about their paranormal beliefs. And now keep in mind that they did the whole spectrum. So it's not paranormal equals supernatural. I mean, it does, but paranormal, all angles, all everything. And they came up with 8. Is it 8? There's only 7 here. So let's go 7. 7 beliefs that a lot of people believe in. I want to see which ones you guys can get. And then obviously the ones you don't, I'll let you know. But we'll talk about each of these because some of them are interesting, especially the percentage. So yeah. So what do you think paranormal belief?
That are American fears?
I mean, this was, yeah. I mean, it was called the Chapman University Survey of American Fears Wave 4. Includes a battery of items on paranormal beliefs, ranging from belief in Bigfoot and psychic powers to visits by aliens and haunted houses.
So, like, what people?
Well, I mean, I pretty much like gave all the answers right there. Not understanding what I was reading because I did read that, but like I'll give you one. Aliens have visited Earth in our ancient past. Like that's a belief that Americans have.
Mm-hmm.
that every like old abandoned building is haunted?
No. That's
Dang.
not one of them.
Dang.
Anything? Or you just want to go over them?
I'm seeing if Scott can come up with
I don't know.
anything here.
Well, I mean, I honestly like gave you like 4 of them just in my list.
Right.
Sasquatch
Yeah.
does exist.
Bigfoot is a
Bigfoot-
real creature. Yes.
Yes.
That-
Got one.
That's because I
Got
gave it
it.
to you.
Well, I mean, you didn't say those words exactly, though, did you?
True, but you didn't have it exactly either. You said Bigfoot is real. I said Bigfoot is a real creature. So, hey, if you want to get specific, start talking semantics here.
Okay.
But yes, Bigfoot is a real creature. Is one.
People are actually abducted by aliens.
No, that is not one.
I would have thought that'd be on the list.
Right. That cryptids are real, including werewolves and vampires and that kind of stuff.
No. The only cryptid one on there is the Bigfoot is real.
Bigfoot.
How about we just go over these?
Okay.
I'll and we'll talk about each one. So 16% believed Bigfoot is a real creature, which surprised me. I would think more people would believe in Bigfoot than 16% of the people surveyed. That low number surprised me, not the belief, but the low number did.
I have a question surrounding that.
Sure.
Does it say like where geographically this survey was taken?
No. I mean, I guess you could probably do where Chapman University is.
I'm gonna look it up because I bet you, like, if it was in the north west, it'd probably be higher.
They actually did. It goes on. And I thought it was kind of funny because they tried to break it up into like what categories the people that believed certain things are in, and some of them I actually kind of laughed at, but let's just go on. One of them was West Coast.
I looked it up. Chapman University is in Orange County, California.
Yeah, it doesn't surprise me.
Yeah.
Okay. At 19%. So more people believe this than in Bigfoot in this thing. Fortune tellers and psychics can foresee the future. 19%.
They feared that?
No, these are just beliefs.
Oh.
People believe it. They're not. None of these have anything to do with fear. That's just the title of their survey.
That's what I was trying to think of.
Oh, I'm sorry, Scott. No, that has nothing to do with. No, these are just beliefs. These are not fears.
Oh, that's what I was trying to think of, was what people fear.
Yeah, I mean that's what they called it, but
okay.
I'm sure the whole reason for that was why they brought up the paranormal, because people fear the paranormal. But this section of it, it really has nothing to do with being afraid of it.
Okay.
So 19% fortune tellers and psychics can predict the future, or foresee the future. I don't know if I believe that or not.
I don't think people really understand completely what psychics do.
Yeah. I mean, they get impressions. I mean, I honestly think that the fakes, the people who are acting like they're psychics, are probably the ones that try to predict the future more than anything. But who knows? Ken's done it a few times for me, so I guess it depends on the question. Because a lot of people, especially the skeptics, they're going to be like, oh, well, if they can see the future, then why don't they see the lottery numbers? That sort of thing. It's like, it doesn't work like that.
Yeah. I wish
So
it did.
yeah, there'd be a lot of rich psychics out there. So at 25%, some people can move objects with their minds. So 25% people believe in telekinesis.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I've never seen anybody do
No,
it.
no.
So
I think it's possible, but it's very few and far between. I don't. It's about the same odds as winning the lottery.
there's Scott. I'm sure you've seen it. In fact, I think you probably own it. Lauren, I don't know if you've seen it. The movie Phenomenon.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's a John Travolta movie. It's actually really, really good. Um, I I love it. I'll still throw it in every once in a while. But he pretty much, and it has a paranormal thing to it. Uh, but just a brief synopsis, he pretty much, like, on his birthday, he's in the middle of the street by himself, kind of wishing happy birthday. Well, he sees his, like, lights in the sky that are coming towards him, and they hit him with some sort of, like, power surge or something, knocks him on his ass. He gets up and he walks back into the bar wherever all of his friends are. And he's at, did you see that? Blah blah blah. It's not. Well, throughout the whole rest of the movie, well, I shouldn't say the whole rest of the movie, but for a good 80% of the movie, all of a sudden his mind is like unlocked. Like he's reading like 10 books a day, and is developing all of these new things. And he's just a farmer in the middle of nowhere, and gets obviously gets in trouble with the government, but and all this other stuff. But the point is, one of the things that he's actually able to do is telekinesis. And he's reading the book and he tries to turn a page. Well, the page like follows he's not even touching it. And then at the end, he's trying to show people. He takes these pair of sunglasses and he just sits there, and they rise out of his hand, and they turn and they're following his finger and whatnot. And he's talking about how it's a partnership of energy. And honestly, I think that that's probably one of the best explanations of telekinesis ever. I mean, it's just the ability of taking your energy and
Mm-hmm.
merging it with something else, and then willing it to follow you. Since we're all made of energy. So I mean, I guess I think it's just focus, the ability to use that part of your mind to do this kind of stuff. I never could, um, but I definitely think it's possible. I would have that belief. I'm sure there's Shaolin monks and stuff like that that can do that type of stuff. Not that we would ever see it, but hey. 26% aliens have come to Earth in modern times. I again thought that would be higher.
Yeah. That sounds
Especially
a little
now,
low.
especially now with all of the video and I mean, you even have freaking NASA and the Navy throwing out videos and shit, of what they call UFOs. Well, actually, they don't call it UFOs anymore.
UAP.
Yeah, yeah, unidentified aerial phenomena.
Mm-hmm.
The 35% is aliens have visited Earth in the ancient past. I'm on board with both those, but
That's interesting that one's higher than the more modern one.
it's like they got here, like, I've had enough.
Yeah.
It's time to go home.
Yep.
Earth's a good place to visit. Wouldn't want to live here. So one of those things. It jumps up to 52%, and that is places can be haunted by spirits, which I think that's fairly average for America. I think
Yeah,
it's
about half.
I think Dave likes to talk about it a lot, about the percentage of people who believe that spirits are real and that they do haunt places. I would think that now that God, with TVs and evidence and cameras, and I mean, I would find it hard to believe that number would be lower than 80% of people. I mean, you're always going to have your cynics, you're always going to have your skeptics, but I mean, there's so much evidence out there now.
I don't know if it'd be as high as 80, but I mean, it's definitely over half in my mind.
Yeah. Well, here's the kicker, because this is the one that was even more than that. 55% thought that ancient advanced civilizations such as Atlantis actually existed. 55% think that Atlantis and other advanced civilizations existed in ancient times.
I mean, if you think about it, we're still discovering civilizations that have like technically disappeared. So I guess I could see how in a lot of people's minds it's very logical to think like, oh, there's some civilization that we have yet to discover, maybe we won't ever discover, that were very advanced, and just everything about them has been either destroyed or we kind of lumped it into another civilization and we would have no idea.
I mean, I understand Mayans and the Aztecs, the civilizations that we are finding. We've never found anything for Atlantis.
Not yet.
True, very true.
No, but
a lot.
But we have found whole cities that at the bottom of the ocean or the sea, in a number of different places. In the Caribbean, over I think near Japan, near Europe. There are several places where we found entire cities underwater, and so it doesn't surprise me that people would think maybe one of those is Atlantis or something.
Well, they think everything that we find is Atlantis, but
how can you say
maybe
it's
one of
not?
them is.
Because there's no evidence of any advanced civilization. Yeah, they have roads or they have columns and stuff like that, but that, of course, you're going to find that. You found that in freaking ancient Rome, in Greece, but there's no advanced civilization with that. I mean, there has not been one shred of advanced technology or an advanced civilization found on Earth. Yes, I agree with you, Scott. They have definitely found cities in the ocean, and everything else. And every time they do, they claim that it's Atlantis, but no advanced civilization has been found.
Maybe they're just really good at covering their tracks.
Maybe.
If they're advanced, they're probably thinking that far ahead.
I honestly would like to think that if it wasn't advanced, like it might even still be running in existence now, inside some underground mountain or something along those lines, that we can't get to. Let's take, actually that was Atlantis, wasn't it? The Disney movie.
Yeah, they did a Disney movie about it.
Yeah. I mean, who's to say that it's not kind of exactly like that, where it got either swallowed up either by design or by nature, and we just haven't found it yet. Now, don't get me wrong. I mean, we find it, something like that. You're not going to hear you be like, I don't believe it. Like, I'd be like, sweet, they were right. Like, I would be just as happy as the next person. But all I'm saying is right now there's no evidence that Atlantis ever existed, except obviously in the books by Plato. Was it Plato or Aristotle? think it was Plato.
No, it's Plato.
It was Plato. That's what I thought.
And others too. Yeah. But then the other possibility is like in stories like Wonder Woman, Black Panther, where they have this technology that cloaks the islands, and
well, that's what I mean. Yeah,
Yeah.
kind of like that.
Oh.
It's basically all we need is Chris Pine to get in a plane and go find it.
Yeah.
I for one, better him than me. So here's the thing that I thought was kind of interesting. People with the highest levels of paranormal belief tend to have / be lower income, report themselves as highly religious, attend religious services infrequently, female, conservative, either single or cohabitating, other race, not white, black, or Hispanic, living in a rural area, or West Coast resident.
That's so many things.
That, well, like I said, they took a whole bunch of different characteristics of people, age, biblical literalism, does respondent live in metropolitan area, education, employment status, frequency of church attendance, gender, how religious is respondent, income, marital status, political party, political preference, race, ethnicity, religion of the country, region of the country, religious tradition like Catholic, Protestant, just Christian is in quotes, Jewish, other, and no religion. Like they took all these characteristics and they tried to find what people who had like the highest level of beliefs. Because what they did is they found that 25% of people had no paranormal beliefs whatsoever, but that left 75% that had at least one of those seven. But only 5% of that leftover 75 had all seven beliefs. It's really funny because 20% had one, 13 had two, 12 had three, 9 had four, 8 had five, 4.7 had six, and 5.0% had all seven of those beliefs. And so they tried to narrow it down. Honestly, I'm not trying to be sexist here whatsoever. I have just noticed in conventions, in even in events that I've done, female by far are the most like attendees. Like they love the paranormal, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that whatsoever. I just thought that at the start that's kind of surprised me a little bit. But hey, to each their own. But conservative, I find that a little hard to believe because they're pretty rigid. I mean, especially when it comes to, especially if it's in the Bible that it's a sin to like talk to ghosts and stuff like that. I would think that they wouldn't have these type of beliefs. I don't know. What do you guys think?
Well, I don't think it actually says that in the Bible, but I think people, but people interpret the Bible or any other religious to prove whatever they believe. So
that is very true.
So I'm not sure what else I was going to say. Sorry.
It's quite all right.
Yeah.
So, do you guys think that if you had to pick a paranormal belief that wasn't on this list,
Well, I
I
want
know
to
it's
circle
kind-
back to the
Sure, I'm sorry, go ahead.
gender thing real quick.
Sure.
Because I find it very interesting that they say, like, okay, majority of the people that we surveyed, whatever group they have, it's more likely to be a woman to believe these kind of beliefs. But then you look at all the paranormal TV shows, and it's a lot of guys. Like, it's usually like a team of guys and like one or two women.
Mhm.
So just, it's always been a bone that I pick with the production and everything like that, but that's neither here nor there. Love the women that are on paranormal TV shows. They're amazing. Love it.
100% agree.
But yeah, what I think should have been on the list, or what I was expecting to see on that list. I guess I would have thought that people would have said something along the lines of, like, loved ones do come back to say goodbye after they've passed on, because I tend to hear that a lot. And I think a lot of people, even if they don't have super strong paranormal beliefs, do think that. And in a lot of cases, I believe it's true. Like, we've talked about it before, like, loved ones can come say goodbye, maybe if they have the energy to, or if they know what's going on, or whatever the situation may be on the other side, we don't know. But I guess I would have expected something along those lines to be on that list.
Yeah, I mean, just following that train of thought, like, yeah, you're right. I would have thought that past lives or reincarnation would have been on there. Um, I don't know if they would necessarily be the exact same thing because they're kind of different. But either way, I would have thought something like that would have been on there. But I mean, do we consider that paranormal?
I mean, if you see an apparition of, like, your grandma standing at the foot of your bed, maybe I would consider it paranormal. But then again, yeah, you're right. Maybe some people don't consider that paranormal because it's not the unknown, it's not scary, which is what majority of people think when they hear paranormal, is that's like scary and frightening and you don't know what's going on, whereas that would be more of like a, or maybe even like a guardian angel kind of situation. You could kind of wrap that into there. So I guess that's another thing, is like guardian angels, but then again, maybe people don't qualify that as paranormal.
So you're talking about
Yeah.
reincarnation now?
No, she's talking about
Past lives.
I guess being visited. My thing
Well,
was
you mentioned it.
Oh, okay.
oh yeah, you did, Scott. I didn't. I was just talking about past lives and reincarnation. But I mean, it's interesting. So I'm sorry, go ahead, Scott.
Well, I think what might fall into paranormal as far as past lives and reincarnation is when I was just reading today or yesterday about some child that said to its parent, said to its mother, yeah, I was in your belly before, and I died, and now I came back to you again. But when it's things like that, when a child starts coming up and giving this whole detailed description of how they lived before and how they died and who their family was and all of that kind of stuff, I think that kind of falls into the paranormal thing.
Sure. I mean, that's past lives. Yeah.
Yeah. So, okay.
All right. Well, if there's nothing on that, Scott, with the time that we have left, why don't you give us?
Well, this kind of falls in line with that too. My question is, I think there are a lot of people also believe that their pets can come back and visit them after they die, or that animals can come back. So what do you think of that? That could have been on that list too.
Yeah. Yeah, it could have easily been on that list, animal spirits. I always think it's really cool when you hear a story about, like, even if it's not a pet that you know, but just like I'm an animal person. I just like dogs and I think they're very comforting. So anytime, even if it's a ghost dog that I don't know,
Dogs are
if it
amazing.
dogs are amazing and cats are too. They're very fluffy and I like
No,
them.
nope.
I know you don't, but I'm giving them love. It's fine. I think it's entirely possible because it's a living being that a lot of people have very strong emotional connections with. And I think that that's reciprocal in a lot of cases because that animal is relying on you to like take care of it, to feed it, and that, you build an emotional bond with it. So I think it's not hard to imagine that, you know, when people pass away and they have strong emotional bonds, they can sometimes come back. Same case with animals, at least in my mind. Um, there are quite I would say, at least I've noticed, it's a lot lower like rate of stories that you hear related specifically to animal spirits compared to human spirits. Maybe I'm just not doing enough research, but usually you don't really hear about animal spirits. It's only a select few times. Um, but yeah, I think it's entirely possible. I think it's a very interesting concept. And I mean, we don't know like who gets to come back and who gets to say hi to everybody and how long they get to stay around for. We don't know that. So maybe they stay down here, they say hi, and then they go up to doggy heaven or wherever they're going.
Upstate
I
New
believe
York.
doggy heaven is a thing.
Of course you
There are no leashes in heaven.
do. Oh, it's just one big dog park.
That'd be amazing.
Actually,
I
that wouldn't be
would
so
I
bad.
would just stay there the whole time. That'd be great.
That wouldn't be so bad. Um, I think probably a very, very, very big portion of animal haunts are more residual than they are
Mhm.
like like an actual spirit of an animal coming back to its owner.
Mhm.
However, Laura made a good point. I think that if you have I'll just say a dog. If you have a dog from pretty much the time that it's separated from its mother, all the way through its entire life, um, I think that it can be attracted to your energy, and that it can, at least for a while, find its way back to that, just because of that bond and the fact that you have been around each other for what should be years and years. Um, but I think that it is a rare occurrence. I think it's not long lived. If it is, you know, uh, Dave likes to tell the story of his cat that was around like a week or something like that, and then was gone. Um, but yeah, for me, I think a good portion of them are residual. I think just like any human or anything with energy, it leaves its mark, on a home, on furniture, on whatever. Uh, that's just my take. So, what about you, Scott? What do you think?
Mhm. Well, I believe that animals have spirits. I'm not sure if each individual animal has an individual spirit or if they have a collective spirit, but um, oh, I had a cat. When it and for some time after it died, I would feel it crawling between my legs, or I'd feel it jumping up on my bed, um, and laying down on my feet, um, and just just have experiences of it, you know, for quite a while. So I do believe it's possible, um, and I think well, I think it happens. I think people can experience their pets, and a lot of it is residual. Um, um, but I also believe that animal spirits, in the collective sense, they are also nature spirits. We talked about nature spirits at other times, but animal spirits are nature spirits, and we can communicate with them if we know how to do it, and vice versa. That's my idea.
Do you think a spirit of a dog could speak English?
Probably not.
That's where I disagree with a lot of people. There is no language on the other side. All communication is like telepathy. You don't communicate with language. You communicate with emotion, with feeling, with experiential things. It's not actually language that you're communicating with. When they talk to us from the other side, they communicate with language because that's what we understand. That's the
Well,
only
that's what
way
I
that we
mean.
can communicate.
So, I mean, do you think that if the spirit of your dog or your cat is on the other side and wants to communicate with you, can they figure out how to use energy to communicate in a way that you can actually understand?
They can do that in the same way that any spirit, when they appear to you, they appear the way they want to appear. Okay? They appear with the whether they appear as young or old, clothed or unclothed or whatever, they choose the way they appear to us. And they,
I was say I'm going to train. I'm going to get a dog eventually. I'm going to train it so that when the absolute tragic day comes and it passes away, it knows to come back in a business suit. I would like my
Why?
dog. I don't, for the fuck of it. Why not? Why not see your dog all dressed up in a suit and tie like he's going to the office? I think that'd be hilarious. Just be an inside joke between me and Fido. That's all. And no, I would
You got to
not
try to get a picture then.
Yes, I need a Polaroid. That would be awesome. But it's going to be many, 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 many years in the future because I have to get the dog. And then he has to have a very long life. So, but it's on the bucket list. That's the goal. Anything else before we go?
I guess I'm just thinking now, like, it'd be if my future dog came back after he or she had passed away and tried to like talk English to me, I would be one, very, very confused and not trustworthy because I'd probably think it's somebody else trying to play a trick on me. And two, I probably wouldn't, it'd weird me out. Like, I'd rather hear them like bark or like some like noise that I would associate with them. I'd rather hear that, you know?
Could you imagine if your dog, when your pet passed away and tried to communicate with you, all of the nasty shit that they would remind you of that they had to witness? Because animals witness everything, but you're okay with that because they can't convey it to anyone. But once they pass away, that barrier's gone. And now they can smack you upside the head because of that one time you brought home someone and
why does your mind immediately go to that, Mike?
Because what else would they want to complain about? The time
They'd complain about all the times I didn't give them treats and belly rubs and walks and all that stuff that dogs actually want.
No, they won't.
Not feeding them as much at dinner or something if they need to be on a diet because they got too heavy because I was feeding them too many treats.
I think the first thing that they would complain about is, why did you cut off the balls?
That's a thought.
Just saying, okay. I'm sure they have a lot of questions as to why you did certain things. It'd be a long conversation, that's all I'm saying. So, anyways, anything else with pets? Potentially coming back. Nope. All right.
Yeah.
Well, that does it for us this week. I want to thank everybody for watching. We'll be back next week, hopefully with Sam, and maybe even Haley, depending on when she's actually going to be done with work on time. So we'll be back next week for sure, probably. And yeah, so everybody stay healthy, stay safe. We want to see you back here. Everyone